Welcome to the Smith Sisters Talk Show. I'm Gwen.
And I am Crystal Smith.
And our topic for today is the sacred ground, acknowledging the first stewards of St. Charles Avenue. But we're going to start with a prayer, and the Smith Sisters are going to say the Our Father prayer together, and then we're going to go into our show. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Today we have the great honor to have on our program the Dr. Professor Robert Thomas, who is going to be talking about land acknowledgment regarding Loyola University. So we're going to start and give a short, little brief scenario on his background. Dr. Thomas holds the Loyola Distinguished Scholar Chair of Environmental Communication, and is a professor of communication and design and director, Center of Environmental Communications, Department of Strategic Communication, Loyola University, New Orleans. He also teaches in Loyola's Biological Sciences and Environment program, founding director of Louisiana Nature Center, New Orleans, founder of Louisiana Master Naturalist program. And he writes a periodical and you can emailed nature column for nature notes. He graduated from the University of Southwestern Louisiana, Texas A&M University. He has a master's and a PhD, postdoctorate fellow, LSU Medical Center. And we welcome you a lot on this kind of weird weather day on the Smith Sisters Talk Show. Can you say hello to our audience?
Yeah, good to be with you. Glad to be here.
Thank you for coming. First of all, we'd like to know, is honoring this history a requirement for our faith as Catholics? And tell us exactly what we're honoring and why.
And not just Catholics. We want to know if we're honoring our faith just across the board in regards to this issue about land acknowledgement.
Of course. I think people who are religious, and it doesn't matter what religion it is, are usually cognizant from their studies and their lessons and homilies and things like that. They are aware that we need to consider stewardship of the earth and the land and respect, with that is the big category of social justice, which means, a Jesuit. I teach at a Jesuit university, and one of the cornerstones of a Jesuit education is understanding social justice, and that means honoring other people and being aware of other people's needs.
Okay,
and
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. But go ahead.
Okay, I didn't want to interrupt.
No.
I just want to give a little brief information on the nature of this show. The significant positions of the land acknowledgement as a spiritual recognition of the indigenous nations, such as the Chitimacha and the Choctaw, who first inhabited the land at Loyola University of New Orleans. And I just wanted to know, how were the Native Americans, if you could recall, Professor, how were they removed from that land?
Well, first of all, I'm not absolutely positive that those two were the only ones here. I mean,
okay. No. There were others.
The area that we call New Orleans, the native name for that was Bulbancha.
Correct.
And what that translates to in their language is land of many tongues, which means it was a gathering place for people from a lot of different tribes that would come in to exchange goods and to see people and see their relatives and just to be together. And up in Poverty Point in northern Louisiana, that was another gathering place for natives, and they would come from all over the United States, and we think that as many as 50,000 people came together each year. Imagine 50,000 people.
That's a lot of people.
A few hundred years ago. So anyway, so what we're going to talk about today is just a land acknowledgement, and then we can get into specifics, and I can tell you what I don't know
and
about our campus.
Because you made me do some research, Professor.
Yeah.
So
but to answer your question, though, this was a gathering place, and we know that there were tribes that lived here.
Correct.
We don't always know what they call themselves or who they aligned with.
Correct.
But we do know, you mentioned some in the land acknowledgement that I use here, and this is something that I did originally for the Louisiana Master Naturalist Program, because we meet all over Southeast Louisiana, and we like to acknowledge, hey, we're out here to study nature. This land used to belong to other people. And but the tribes that we have listed on this land acknowledgement are the Okolopissa, the Homa, the Chitimacha, the Chatayakni. That was the name that the Choctaw called one another. Washa, the Attakapaw Ishka Kawasha, and the Bayogoula. And
Bayogoula. We have relatives that are
descendants. We are descendants. My mom.
Well, those were all here.
Indians.
Those were all here,
okay.
and they were mixed meshed where they lived, and some of them lived right north together. Some of them merged together. But the reason that we acknowledge that is that we want people to be aware that we study this land because we love nature, and we really adore nature, and a lot of people are very spiritual about it. But it's always good to acknowledge who used to be here.
That is true.
And no matter where I go in the world, if I'm in Africa, I acknowledge that if I'm sitting in a Maasai Boma, that those Maasai are descendants of people that used to be there that might have called themselves something else.
You're right.
And New York City is that way everywhere you go.
Correct. That is correct.
And so we acknowledge that, and that sort of is always a foundation for anything that we discuss and the way we talk about conserving the property and the cultures. But what happened was that these people were all living in Louisiana. These people that I just mentioned were all over Louisiana when the Europeans started arriving here.
Right.
And of course we know at the end, if you go to the very end, we basically took all the land away from most of those cultures over time. And but then again, you know what? On my mother's side, my relatives were from Prussia. And they moved to the United States in 1880 because they were being pushed out by other Europeans. I mean, this is a human thing that we do,
Oh, God, yeah.
without acknowledging somebody else's ownership. So that's all that it does. It gives you a state of mind of understanding that this land has been handed down from different cultures and the like. And a lot of these tribes that we just mentioned they still exist, and
they do.
And even if they're not an organized tribe with a big headquarters,
right.
They certainly, like you said that y'all have
on my mother's side,
on my mom's side,
who are Bayogoula.
Yes.
Correct.
And so we all have things like that, and it's good to always acknowledge. So so we started looking at this and trying to figure out how do you write a statement that simply covers it. And at first, we have 14 different places that the Master Naturalists have workshops. So I tried to write a land acknowledgement for each place and realized that every time I read more deeply, I found out that, oh gosh, there's been overlays of several of these tribes.
That is true.
In every place that we go. So I wrote one that covers the entire area and just gives acknowledgement to it.
If someone wanted to look up that information, how could they do so?
Oh gosh, Google.
Okay.
That's easy.
Now AI.
That is true. That
AI will
makes it
feed you a
simple.
lot of information
But would they
on it.
go to your specific name because you're the person that, or it's just information that
general.
has general?
I wrote this one for us. And by the way, we started, I think I had mentioned to y'all, that we were, and this is accepted by my nonprofit organization board. This is our acknowledgement.
Okay.
If we tried to make that happen at Loyola a few years ago, and it didn't fail but for only one reason. The guy that they asked to be the chair of the committee moved.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the ball got dropped. So we're talking about it now on our campus to get back and doing a land acknowledgement for our site, and then we'll know more about where it is. But if you Google and just put Native American tribes, South Louisiana, boy, stuff will pop out of everywhere.
But you did say that Loyola is starting to organize, right? So
yeah.
if someone wanted to get in contact with you, who may have descendants and they feel that they would like to be a part of this, how would they contact you?
I'm easy to get. If you Google me, everything pops up. But let me give you my email address. That's the best way to get to me. It's rathomas at loyno, LOYNO.edu. And if you do that and you put in the subject line land acknowledgement, I'll know what it is and I'll get back to you very quickly. It's good if you send me a cell number.
Okay.
Or a way to contact you by phone so we can just talk. But also, if you email me, we'll certainly be in contact with one another.
So, since this land acknowledgement has to deal with spirituality, since the ground that Loyola University is positioned on belongs to God first, how should we treat the people who formerly lived there? How should we treat them?
With respect. With respect and love, understanding that their forebearers, not them, but their forebearers, are the ones that lived on that land and prospered from God's gift, like you said.
That's right.
And so, one of the interesting stories I think I shared with y'all the other day was that somebody who really looks into this, the Native American people that lived here, was telling a story of some Europeans coming down from the north.
Yeah, you did say that.
Into this area, and they ran into a tribal village in what's now Metairie.
Oh.
And they were able to communicate with them because they had some guides that could communicate. And so then they left them and they went down to the area that we now call Chapatula Street.
Oh, Chapatula's the famous
right
street.
along the river.
Right.
And you said there's a meaning of Chapatula.
Well,
Would
that's
you
it.
please say?
They met more people there. And so they had nice discussions. They enjoyed being with those people, but they didn't find out what they call themselves. And so when they went back to the place in now Metairie, they asked the people. They said, "Who are the people that live down there?" And they said, "Those are the Chapatulas." So they wrote in their journals, "The Chapatulas, Native Americans," and then they found out much later that was the Native American word for people who live by the river.
Oh, that's
so
what
it
it was.
wasn't the name of a village; it was the name of those people live by the river. So there's all kind. That's what makes it difficult sometimes to understand these things, and you can't do it as sort of a side hobby without getting really deep and finding experts that understand it. And that's what I do. I spend a lot of time talking to people who have a lot of expertise on Native Americans.
Okay, how can we help the Native people still living here
In Louisiana.
to reunite with their ancestors and just
Grounds,
the
yes.
grounds, just to be a part of the history that I was not aware.
Yeah.
So there are many that are not aware.
Sure.
Are there types of information that they could get from you, and you can tell them how to go about researching?
If anybody contacts me and wants information, I can put them in contact with other people that have much more expertise than I do. But we still have lots of Native Americans that live here. Some of them are not aligned with a tribe, but
Okay.
they know their heritage. Some of them, the Homa are sort of a mixture of a lot of different tribes of people that came together.
I didn't know that.
And they're a recognized group, but they're not recognized by the federal government, which is complicating for them. But there are a lot of people that live along the coast, especially in the marshes and the like, who consider themselves Native Americans. And they can talk to you ad infinitum about their relatives and who they descended from.
Okay, how do we turn this talk that we're doing on the show into real action? I know you want the land acknowledgement. What procedure, what is the process? How do we go about that? We have listening audience members who are bloodline Native Americans or just people who respect Native Americans.
Yeah.
As Crystal said, our mother's side of the family happen to be Bayogoula Indians, right? So how do we turn this talk into real action?
People have to get together and say, I'm going to do something about it. It always starts when somebody says, enough is enough and too much is too much, and I'm going to get people together and talk about this. But if I were Native American and I had an association of families that I knew were descended from Native Americans, And if I do workshops or teaching, my schools have children in school.
Okay.
The first thing I would do is sit down and write a land acknowledgement and share it with those schools and say, isn't this something that you can share with the students in school to
That is
give
true.
them a
I didn't
sense
think of that.
of our history? But also your church. If you have people in your church, do a land acknowledgement through your church and try to get it approved by the pastor. So that it becomes public knowledge to people. Because people that are not descendants of Native Americans usually find this fascinating. And if somebody says, let's honor the people who lived here before any of us ever got here, any of our ancestors got here,
That's right.
you'll find that most of the time people say, that's a great idea. And they want to know more.
What about, let's talk about Loyola University, since the land acknowledgement we're talking about today, everybody, we're talking about the land acknowledgement for Loyola University because they're on Native American land. And that's why we have Professor Thomas here. What is Loyola University saying in that regards about the acknowledgement?
And something else we should bring up. There is a new person in District 8, which is where Loyola University is located. Would you say her name and who's the council person?
Yeah, the council person for District A is Amy McCarran, and she's over District A, and that's where we can start there. But I want Professor to tell us, how do we start with her? But our initial question was, is Loyola University's president acceptable to this idea, and how do we make this happen?
Well, absolutely he is. And he's very interested in it, and a lot of our faculty are, and a lot of our students are.
That's great.
And that's how you got to me. You saw an article written by a young lady who's an undergraduate at Loyola because she has Native American heritage and she was interested in it. So she wrote an article in our school paper about land acknowledgments. And that kind of went viral in a lot of areas.
It did. It reached us.
Yeah, she did a really good job, and it's because she felt it in her heart that she had a heritage that she didn't really totally understand, and she wanted to gather people together. So that's the way, and that's what's going to happen at Loyola. We will have a land acknowledgement. It's just the kind of thing we do.
Great. I'm
some
so
things you
happy.
just know. I mean, we're a university that focuses on social justice and honors diversity, and we're always concerned about everybody.
And the Smith Sisters Talk Show is we're helping and we're partnering with that to make that a historical event.
Absolutely.
And any church in that area can also contact Professor Thomas at Loyola and tell them how you guys can get involved, especially in District A.
Yeah.
Definitely. So how can we get our city councilwoman involved with this? She's newly elected, but she does have the heart of the people. How can we get her involved with this to make this thing happen more expeditiously?
Well, she's a very busy lady, but the thing is, she's there to serve the people. And so what you do is you call her office and you say, we would like to come in and speak to your office, just that way, general.
Yes.
Because she may be so busy in her new position. But what they do is somebody will meet with you and listen to what you have to say and go to her in one of their staff meetings and talk about it. And then she'll ultimately be very easy to talk to about this.
Well, we'll start.
I don't know her personally, but I do know.
Well, we did help endorse her, so we can at least get some. We can get a meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
No doubt about it.
Yeah. So we definitely want to let people know we're talking about the land acknowledgement from Loyola University because initially it was Native American land, St. Charles Avenue, believe it or not. We have a professor on air right now authenticating that information. So some people are afraid of these conversations. Professor. So how do we explain that to them that it's about honesty and not about erasing our past?
Right. No, it's about historical knowledge and honoring the history of our land. And it has nothing to do with anything else. But there are some people who might have something in their worldview where they think that acknowledging something like this is giving away to somebody else. It's not. It's about honoring history. And that's always a positive.
Well, I'm glad that the professor, Robert Thomas is his name, he's at Loyola University, came out. And I just read the article and I said, you know what, Chris? We should do a show on this because nobody knows that Loyola University sits on Native American land. And I asked the professor when I was on campus, and he honestly answered me. I said, wait a minute. Professor Thomas, are we like standing on Native American grave sites? Because you know the Native
Probably.
Americans,
Possibility.
yeah, that they buried their family and whomever close by. So that means that that whole swath of land of Loyola University is Native American.
Yeah.
So we're trying to push the information and give information to our listening audience about the land acknowledgement and that Loyola University is and occupies Native American land.
Well, the entire area would be Native American
The
land.
entire country,
The country, yes. Okay.
the entire world.
Okay.
If you go to every place in the world, there are prior cultures that occupied that property, and some of them just kind of died out. Some of them had it taken away from them.
Okay. Would you give us information on how people can contact you if they're interested in researching about their ancestors or just researching because they want to know information?
Well, I'll try to help. I mean, I'm not a genealogist and an expert in ancestries and the like, but I do have a land acknowledgement here that we put together for the Louisiana Master Naturalist Program. And if somebody contacts me, I'd be glad to email that to them and put it in their hands so they could at least see how we wrote ours.
Oh, that is terrific. So I am so glad that the Smith Sisters talk show had the opportunity and that the Professor Thomas took from his busy schedule. He has to run to another meeting, but he took time to talk to us about the land acknowledgement on St. Charles Avenue, which is actually Loyola University, which is Native American land. So we want you to continue to stay tuned to the Smith Sisters talk show. I'm Gwen.
And I am Crystal Smith, and we're going to also inform you about when our show comes on.
Right. And our show comes on, and we just wanted to impart information to our listening audience so they can get educated. Because we have a twofold goal here. We're an educational component, we're a Christian component, and we're advocacy. And we're Christian advocacy and political. Okay, so therefore, the Smith Sisters radio talk show comes on WVOG 600 AM each Friday of the month, 6:30 until 7 p.m. You can contact Crystal or myself at 3009-301 and we can be accessed on the World Wide Web at from 6:30. You can tune in on the World Wide Web via internet. We're also on YouTube. We're also on X. So we're a lot of places if you want to contact us. So I'm happy that we always have priest on.
Yeah.
Forgive me. And Loyola University is a Jesuit university. We are Catholics. We are Oblates Associates, so we want to get the word out about what Professor Robert Thomas is talking about. Yeah. And it's the land acknowledgement. And I'm so glad that we're a part of this history-making event. And I hope our name is going to be the Smith Sisters Talk Show. It's going to be placed on that. What do you think about that, Professor Thomas?
I'm very happy that you're doing this because a lot of listeners out there are going to be excited about it.
I'm excited because we're Bayogoula Indians by our heritage, our bloodline.
And that brings us all together because somehow Indians have touched all of our lives or we wouldn't be here. They informed us of herbs that we should take because as people came to this country, they didn't know what herbs could help them with certain illnesses. If they were wounded or a shot or whatever during that time, the Indians would give them herbs to put in their wound to heal the tissue. So there's a lot that we owe the Indians because we would not have been able to come here and not know anything about a land and survive here.
That is true, because our mother, when we were growing up, she would definitely educate us to the herbs and the healings and what have you, from her area, from the Bayogoula Indians out around Iberville Parish, and we would get healed. Believe it or not, they still have treaters around. Have you ever heard that terminology, Pastor Father?
Absolutely.
Okay, and they are legitimate people who are healers, and it works. So we just wanted to let people know that the Indian heritage is very relevant to our society, to America, and there is a lineage of people who are still here existing as we speak. And you're hearing two descendants of the Bayogoula tribe from my mother's side right now.
And the Cajuns always are very grateful to the Indians and all who accepted them when they came. They were very affable people. They were open people. And so they always, I've got to give it to the Cajuns, they always acknowledge the Indians.
They all live together.
Yes.
They all live together as one. And look, you said that you were a descendant of Persia, your grandparents.
On one side.
On one side.
Right.
So I know they were educating you to herbs and all that kind of stuff, huh?
Oh, sure.
So we all
That's
had
great.
In the
herbs.
old days, everybody did that.
Right.
Everybody did it.
That's right. Everybody, rich, poor, everybody, right?
To survive, yes.
To survive, and I think that's important for us to know as we speak. We're grown-ups, we're adults right now, but that heritage of healing, which is in the Persian community, and heritage, which is in my community, and heritage, and the African American, and all of us, we're the great melting pot. You agree, Professor?
Yes.
Yes, we are. So I am so happy again that he took the time out to come on the Smith Sisters show. And please tune in again. Let me reiterate, when we come on, please listen to the Smith Sisters radio talk show on WVOG 600 AM each Friday of the month, 6:30 until 7 p.m. You can contact Crystal or myself at 3009-301 and we can be accessed on the World Wide Web, on your radio dial, on X, on YouTube, and we're a lot of places, so you can reach us. And again, thank you, Professor, for coming on the Smith Sisters radio talk show.
Thank you for inviting me.
And we will stay in touch and give other information, perhaps at the end of each show, because we want this to take off and understand we are grateful for the help we did receive.
Right, so you're going to do a follow-up with us, right, Professor?
Probably.
I hope so. I hope so. I have to do an Indian spiritual prayer, and you talk about probably. Yes, I hope you will. I know you're busy. So look, we're going to tune out right now, and we're going to welcome you to listen to us. Until the next time, and take this journey with us. Thank you.
Thank you.